Welcome to Competitive Training Institute, empowering you with in-demand skills. At Competitive Training Institute, we equip you with practical, job-ready skills that open doors both locally and internationally. Whether you're aiming to become a qualified caregiver, certified plumber, skilled automotive mechanic, or want to learn a foreign language like French, Arabic, or German, and many more, we've got the right course for you. Our hands-on training, guided by experienced instructors and aligned with market demands, ensures you're ready to compete and succeed in today's job market. We don't just train, we help you get hired. Our job placement team supports you in finding meaningful work after graduation. We are proudly accredited by NITA, ensuring high standards in all we offer. Ready to begin? Call us on 020-200-192 or 0721-223081, or email us at competitivetraining@gmail.com. Your journey starts here. Let's build your future together.
Looking for a trusted supplier for all your household hardware needs? Look no further than Competitive Hardware Limited. We provide top quality building materials including cement, all types of iron sheets, paints, PPR and PVC pipes, electric pipes, building grills, BRC and square till in various sizes. Need interior and finishing materials? We've got you covered with gypsum rails, marine boards, ceiling boards and tanks of all sizes. For fencing, we stock barbed wire, chain link and wire mesh. And the best part, we offer free countrywide delivery with our fleet of transit trucks and pickups. Your order arrives on time, every time. Visit us in Kitengela along Namanga Highway, opposite 411 stage, or at our branches in Kitisuru and Busia. For enquiries, call us on 020-2688-888 or 0733-666632 or 0721-923248. Competitive Hardware Limited, your reliable hardware supplier.
Now, a good morning to you. Welcome to the Morning Brew here at CBS. Now, we'll be reviewing the top headlines making the dailies today, and we'll be reviewing the Daily Nation as well as the Standard newspaper. Now, the top headline in the Standard newspaper is Pope Leo the 14th, as well as the Daily Nation again, Pope Leo the 14th. That's majorly the top story on both dailies. So the world basically has a new pope, and according to the Daily Nation, after 2 days of voting, a multitude anxiously waiting at St. Peter's Square, white smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel chimney last evening, signaling the election of a new leader of the Catholic Church. Now, American Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost is the 267th pontiff. He takes the name Pope Leo the 14th. Now, stories and photos continue on page 2, 3 and 4 of the Daily Nation. Now, for the Standard newspaper, still highlighting the same story, a new era, that is what they say. After 36 hours of waiting, while the College of Cardinals followed the ancient tradition to select the new pope, the iconic white smoke finally rose above the Sistine Chapel last evening, a signal that a new pope had been chosen, American Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost. Again, the story continues on page 4 and 5 of the Standard newspaper. Now, remember, the process to elect the new pope started last week on Wednesday, and just diving in deeper into both the Standard and the Daily newspapers. Now, according to the Standard newspapers, in a historic first, the United States now counts a pope among its own, a shepherd for 1.4 billion souls, urging peace, dialogue, and justice from St. Peter's throne. Now, this is the first pope from the United States of America. Remember, the last pope was from Argentina, not from Europe, and now we have someone, Robert Francis Provost became the first pope from the United States of America on Thursday, picking the papal name Leo XIV after cardinals from around the world elected him the leader of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics. Now, tens of thousands of people packed in St. Peter's Square cheered as Provost appeared on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, waving with both hands, smiling and bowing as well. Now, of course, there's a picture of the new pope on both the front page and inside the Standard newspaper, and of course the white smoke is being seen. Remember, the conclave began on Wednesday, and 3 days later we have a new pope, Pope Leo XIV. Of course, remember, Pope Francis was laid to rest the other weekend. Now, moving on to other stories here in Kenya, selective justice. That's the question the Standard newspaper is asking on page 6. And the story is about why Ongondo's case was acted on as others shelved. Now, diving deeper, it says police act swiftly on political cases due to pressure from some powers to detriment of justice. Now, analysts warn that such injustice breeds hitmen and erodes public trust in fair dispute resolution. Of course, as we know, the former MP, the late MP for Kasipul, that is Charles Ongondo, was shot dead along Ngong Road, and the story highlights how the police have actually moved swiftly to act on it, and Kenyans on social media have been decrying and pointing out the fact that even a similar speed was not seen when the CDF, that is CDF Ogola, died, and Kenyans demanded for investigations into the matter. But 1 year later, it is when a report was tabled. But for Charles Ongondo, police have moved swiftly, and Kenyans are asking, why is it that when a politician is killed, the state moves swiftly, but when a Kenyan or someone like Ogola died, the Kenyans didn't see such swift action? And a comment here by security analyst Brian Adera, he says the danger in that people will look for alternative methods of solving disputes. It will create a market for hitmen and goons, because justice will seem like a preserve of nobility and not peasantry. Again, I saw a comment of someone on social media saying others will opt to use witchcraft to get justice if the courts do not act swiftly to ensure that people get the justice they seek. Hoping the security chiefs can address that and ensure that other people also get justice they deserve. And still on a new appointment at the University of Nairobi, a new vice chancellor has been chosen to replace Professor Stephen Kiama. So, and there's that is on page 9 of the Standard newspaper, and it reads, storm at UON after hiring of new vice chancellor. So Professor Bitange Ndemo has been named the substantive vice chancellor for the University of Nairobi. However, a new acting vice chancellor has replaced the current one. So leadership wrangles at the University of Nairobi have deepened following the appointment of an acting vice chancellor on Thursday. So the council chairman Amuko Anangwe announced Professor Francis Jaki as acting VC for a 6-month period starting May 5th. Professor Mula replaces Professor Margaret Chesang Hutchinson, whose term as acting VC ended this week. Now, the chairperson of the University of Nairobi appoints Professor Elijah Bitange Ndemo as the Vice Chancellor with effect from May 2nd, 2025, subject to ratification by the Council. So, according to a letter seen by the Standard, Ndemo emerged top in the PSC merit list with a score of 84%, ahead of Professor Duke Orata, who got 73%, and Professor Francis Jaki Mula, who got 66%. So, as we know, the wrangles, the leadership wrangles at the University of Nairobi have been going on for a while, and maybe the appointment of Professor Ndemo of Professor Bitange Ndemo can finally put a stop to the leadership wrangles that have been going on at the university to allow for smooth learning in the institution. Now, moving on to matters state and bills. Now, state to settle 229 billion shilling spending bills ahead of system overhaul. So, according to this story by the Standard on page 8, it reads, a task force recommended payment of 75% of 500 billion shillings verified pending bills. Now, Treasury PS revealed plans to clear all verified debts ahead of transition to new system. Now, there's up to 80 billion shillings owed to road constructors in pending bills and is currently being paid. The rest of the pending bills will be factored in the budget. Now, that is actually a payment breakthrough. And just below that story, there's another story of how government is accelerating bid to revive pyrethrum farming in the country. So the government has launched a renewed effort to revive pyrethrum sector amid the financial struggles faced by pyrethrum processing company of Kenya. So the initiative comes just months after Agricultural Principal Secretary, that is Paul Rono, visited the company's head office in Nakuru and observed its poor condition, including rusted and idle machinery. So his visit followed an audit report from the Auditor General, which revealed that the company was technically insolvent due to mismanagement, neglect, and alleged embezzlement. Hopefully that can be addressed and the pyrethrum farmers can have their way back into the market with improved and revitalized pyrethrum farming. Now, moving on to other stories, back to the Daily Nation. Of course, the Pope has been elected, and there was celebration across America, or with the nuns coming out, the Catholic faithful across the country. Remember, the Catholic faithful form the largest group of Christians in per denomination in the world. Remember, the Catholic Church is a universal church and still on a new peak in the country. Now, back here in Kenya, the IEBC President William Ruto has, in a surprise pick, Ruto has picked Ethocon as IEBC chief. Now, the move brings the country a step closer to ending a 2-year wait for Paul's team. Now, President Ruto declared all 7 electoral commissions vacant in February and March of 2023. Remember, the former IEBC chief, that was Wafula Chebukati, his 6-year term ended in January of 2023, and since then there has not, a new team has not been elected, and the country has actually been running out of time to elect a new team. Remember, we are just 2 years close to the next general elections, and now finally we have a new team, and it comes as a surprise because among the top contenders people had expected to be chosen was Anne Amadi, that was the former registrar of the judiciary, as well as Charles Nyachae, of course, but those names it seems they did not appeal to the president as much as Ethocon did. Now, according to the Daily Nation, President William Ruto has elected, that is a former Turkana County attorney, Ethocon, and the move brings the country a step closer to ending the 2-year wait for a reconstituted IEBC body. Now, if approved by the National Assembly led by Speaker, that is Moses Wetangula, Mr. Ethocon will succeed the late Wafula Chebukati, whose 6-year term as chair ended in January 2023. Now, in a surprise decision, the president overlooked high-profile contenders such as former chief registrar of the judiciary Anne Amadi and former commission for implementation of the constitution chairperson Charles Nyachae, both widely seen as front runners in the race. Now, President Ruto also nominated registrar of political parties Anne Derito, Moses Mukwana, and Mary Karen Sarobit, Hassan Nur Hassan, Francis Odhiambo, and Adwal and Fahim Arafat Abdallah as commissioners. However, the nomination of Mr. Hassan is expected to reignite controversy as his name was added to the list just days before the interviews. Remember, we highlighted for you a story here where six fresh names who were not initially in the among the shortlisted candidates was suddenly added to the list, and it raised questions about the integrity of the election process. Now, we are waiting to see if this will actually bring about any court cases, which of course we are hoping will not happen, because it will derail the election process. Again, a number of constituencies and MPs, now just like the MP for Kasipul has passed away recently, the region expects to have a by-election soon, among other areas in the country who have not been having representatives in parliament. So again, the reconstituted IBC Commission and the panel will have a lot. They have a lot waiting for them to do. Now, 48. This is the age of Erastus Edung Ethokon, who has been nominated as the IBC chairperson. We'll be keeping you updated on that as they proceed to the National Assembly before the Speaker and MPs for vetting. We'll definitely be keeping you updated on that. What will happen? What will they say? And what are they hoping to deliver to the country in terms of elections and the integrity? And remember, it comes at a time when Kenya's election, particularly the integrity of our election, is being put to question. Now, moving on to another story, still on the corridors of justice, court to rule on Mwilu's powers to appoint judges. Now, the story is on page 7 of the Daily Nation, and it reads, the court ruling centers on the impeachment of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Now, the outcome will impact petitions seeking the dissolution of parliament. Now, according to this story, the Court of Appeal is set to deliver a landmark ruling, a landmark judgment on whether Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu has the authority to appoint and assign judges to an expanded bench. Now, although the judgment expected today centers on the impeachment of the former Deputy President, that is Rigathi Gachagua, it is also anticipated to impact another high-profile matter, a petition seeking to dissolve the dissolution of Parliament. Now, the ruling will be delivered by a 3-judge bench comprising of Court of Appeal President Daniel Musinga, Mumbi Ngugi, and Fred Ochieng. So at the heart of this case is whether the bench appointed by DCJ in October last year to hear a petition challenging the National Assembly process of impeaching Rigathi Gachagua was properly constituted. Now, this is definitely a story that Kenyans are waiting to hear. Definitely the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, this will determine whether he can vie, whether his impeachment was legal or illegal, and whether he can even vie to be president. Remember, the former Deputy President is seeking to introduce a new party, and which will probably front someone for the 2027 general elections as part of the opposition. And now the Deputy President has vowed to ensure that President William Ruto will be a one-term president, which will actually be a first in the country. So we are definitely will be keeping you updated on this story. Another story here on page 8 of the Daily Nation, page 6 actually. So MP's aide driver communicated with his suspected killers. This is according to police. Now, city businessman, who police say is a person of interest, wants to be released on bond. Now, this is a story about the late MP, that is Charles Ongondo Were, and there is an allegation here, a finding by the police that MP's aide driver communicated with his suspected killers. Now, detectives banking on the CCTV footage of mobile phones triangulation to unravel murder plot and unmasked shooter. So police want 5 more suspects arrested in connection to the murder of Kasipul MP Charles Ongondo Were, including his driver and his security personnel, and as well as his rural home neighbor, remanded in custody for 30 days to enable them to finalize investigations. So the investigations team described the incident as a well-orchestrated crime planned by multiple people through several meetings in Nairobi and Homa Bay way before the day of the fatal shooting. At the same time, documents filed in court yesterday revealed that police are banking on CCTV footage at the Integral Command, Control and Communication Center and other private installed cameras along the path leading to the murder scene. Now, remember, the MP had previously said that his life was in danger, and on the fateful day of his death, the MP decided to use his son's vehicle and not his own. But despite this, the killers still managed to trail him and shoot him point blank with 5 gunshots to his chest, which he died from excessive bleeding. And remember, his vital organs were also hit in that attack. Very sad indeed. The MP has been ferried to, the body has been ferried to his rural home to be buried probably this weekend. Now, another story here on page 10 of the Daily Nation, it is on matters health. Now, Kenya fails to pay 1.6 billion shillings as babies miss life-saving vaccines. Now, a spot checks revealed that at least 10 counties had run out of vital childhood vaccines. So, Health Ministry is supposed to pay amount to Gavi in vaccine co-financing deal. So for the past 6 weeks, Halima Pamut, a mother of 3 who lives in Kenya's South Sudan border, has been unable to get any childhood vaccine for her latest bundle of joy. All the health facilities she has visited in Turkana say they do not even have the polio vaccines. Remember, this has been an issue that has been ongoing for even since last year. There had been issues of unavailability of vaccines for babies, and the polio vaccine is delivered, it is actually given to babies at birth to ensure that they are not attacked by this crippling disease. We are hoping the government can move swiftly to address that. And now we'll be taking a short break. We'll be right back. I'll be highlighting for you more stories on matters business. We're still not touched on sports, so stay tuned. Do not move from there.
Competitive manpower, AYTB is seeking qualified candidates for the following positions: technical advisor, QA or QC personnel, shop coordinator, report organizer, rotating equipment repair technician, valve overhaul technician, machining technician.
Contact us today on 0721 506627 or 0733 392180. You can also visit us at Waterseas Plaza, Kikorok Road. Alternatively, you can send an email to info@competitivemanpower.com. Apply now. Limited slots available.
Welcome to Competitive Training Institute, empowering you with in-demand skills. At Competitive Training Institute, we equip you with practical, job-ready skills that open doors both locally and internationally. Whether you're aiming to become a qualified caregiver, certified plumber, skilled automotive mechanic, or want to learn a foreign language like French, Arabic, or German, and many more, we've got the right course for you. Our hands-on training, guided by experienced instructors and aligned with market demands, ensures you're ready to compete and succeed in today's job market. We don't just train, we help you get hired. Our job placement team supports you in finding meaningful work after graduation. We are proudly accredited by NITA, ensuring high standards in all we offer. Ready to begin? Call us on 020-200-192. or 0721-223081, or email us at competitivetraining@gmail.com. Your journey starts here. Let's build your future together.
Looking for a trusted supplier for all your household hardware needs? Look no further than Competitive Hardware Limited. We provide top quality building materials including cement, all types of iron sheets, paints, PPR and PVC pipes, electric pipes, building grills, BRC and square till in various sizes. Need interior and finishing materials? We've got you covered with gypsum rails, marine boards, ceiling boards and tanks of all sizes. For fencing, we stock barbed wire, chain link and wire mesh. And the best part, we offer free countrywide delivery with our fleet of transit trucks and pickups. Your order arrives on time, every time. Visit us in Kitengela along Namanga Highway, opposite 411 stage, or at our branches in Kitisuru and Busia. For enquiries, call us on 020-2688-888 or 0733-666632 or 0721-923248. Competitive Hardware Limited, your reliable hardware supplier.
Now, welcome back to the Morning Brew here at CBS, where we are reviewing the newspapers and the top stories in our dailies today. Now, we had left off at political news, and just an interesting story here in the Standard newspaper, actually part of county news. It's a story about Nakuru County government. Now, Kihika faces fresh petition over dual citizenship and birth tourism allegations. Now, the story on page 19 says the governor is facing a fresh petition challenging her eligibility to hold public office. Now, this time over allegations of dual citizenship and birth tourism. Now, the petition filed at the High Court in Nakuru on April 14th by Naivasha resident Peter Kuria Moniki seeks to have the court declare Susan Kihika unfit to hold public office and further rule that her nomination and election were unconstitutional. Now, remember, according to the Kenyan Constitution, holders of public, those seeking election into public office ought to have only the Kenyan citizenship. But according to this story, Susan Kihika ought to not have gotten that seat. Even they go ahead to vie to be the county government governor of Nakuru because of dual citizenship. Again, recently we had her going to the United States of America to deliver her twins, which she shared on social media. And again, she is still facing backlash on this, despite women parliamentarians coming out to defend her. Now, according to this story, a petitioner from Naivasha wants Kihika out of office due to these allegations. Now, remember, some time back we also had women from the region, the residents of Nakuru County, decrying that the healthcare system, particularly the maternal healthcare in the county, is not adequate enough, and yet the county head, that is Susan Kihika, is going to America to secure better healthcare services in America during her birth process. Now, we'll be keeping you updated on how that goes. Will the petition go through? Will the Nakuru County get a new? Will they manage to evict, to remove Kihika from the position? And now, in another county, on Still Matters counties, budget standoff looms as governors reject 405 billion shillings. Now, this story reads, members of National Assembly are supporting the proposed figure, that is 405 billion Kenyan shillings, but governors reject it. So they want Treasury to allocate devolved units at least 536 billion Kenyan shillings. Now, this is a standoff brewing. Now, a quote here by Mutula Kilonzo Jr., that is Makueni County Governor. He says this move undermines counties' autonomy and creates unnecessary bureaucracy. We'll definitely be keeping you updated on how that goes. Now, moving on to matters business. Here in the Standard newspaper, a story on page 22 reads, rural power use drops as connections grow 6%. Now, this is despite the government hooking up to 134,000 customers to the national grid. Remember, there has been, over the past 10 years, there has been a move by the government to increase connectivity of electricity in rural areas. Now, even as connection in the rural areas is increasing, rural power usage and connections continue to drop. Now, the rural power use drops despite an increase in connectivity. Now, the decline, the 12.4 billion shillings turnover, is a drop of 100 million shillings from the previous year. And still on matters business, Stanbic profits falls 16% on lower forex. Now, the Stanbic Bank Kenya reported a 16.6% drop in net profit for the first quarter ended March, owing to a shrink in non-interest income. Now, let's see what the Daily Nation, the Standard newspaper, has to say on matters business. And here on matters business, it is about motor vehicles. And the headline is, motor industry registers decline as businesses, households stay away. Now, number of newly registered vehicles dropped 21.4%, the lowest since 2017. And motorcycles registered also continued a multi-year decline, a hit low in 16 years. Now, statistics given here show that 60%, this is a drop in sales of registered vehicles used by businesses across different industries, including lorries and trucks. That was in 2024. And this year, again, the decline continues. going down further. And still on international business here, we have a story about Trump and his call to U.S. federal chair full after pause is in red cards. So U.S. President Donald Trump branded Fed Chair Jerome Powell a fool on Thursday after the central bank announced another pause in red cards and warned of higher risks to inflation and unemployment goals. So according to this, too late, this is a quote by Donald Trump, and it reads, "Too late, Jerome Powell is a fool who doesn't have a clue." Trump posted on his Truth Social network in a fresh attack on the head of Independent Federal Reserve. We'll definitely be keeping you updated on other stories going on in business along the week. Now we move on to matters sports here, and at the back page of the Standard newspaper there is a picture. It's basically about Arsenal. As we know, they recently had a game, and we have seen the social media banter about Arsenal and how they will never get a trophy. Hopefully they will get a trophy someday. Now Arsenal falls short again as striker was horned at Arteta. Now there's a picture of course of Mikel Arteta here, and it is another trophy less season for Arsenal after going out in Champions League semis. Now Gunners were pushed by the misses they had, especially in the opening 15 minutes, and the story highlights here. So on Wednesday, the semis results, and PSG was playing against Arsenal, and PSG won 2-1 against Arsenal, and PSG go through. It's actually aggregated to 3-1. Now, who will contest in the 2025 Champions League final? PSG will face Inter in the final, and Inter were the first side to book their place in the decider, courtesy of the incredible 7-6 aggregate victory over Barcelona in the semi-finals. Now, the following night, PSG joined them thanks to a 3-1 overall success against Arsenal. Now, where is the 2025 Champions League final? The highlight of the European Football's club calendar returns to Munich for the final for the first time since 2012, when Chelsea defied home advantage to beat Bayern on penalties. Now, remember, the president said he's also a fan of Arsenal recently, and Kenyans actually started throwing jibes at Arsenal fans, saying "Mola moya mejoin team yenu," and maybe the president is also feeling that loss. And on this Daily Nation, on matters sports still, now Sambine Omanyala is part of the golden generation of sprinters and Olympics four times 100 meters silver medalist, says runner has contributed to renewed interest in short races among youth. They're speaking about Ferdinand Omanyala. So Olympic Games 4 times 100 meters silver medalist Akini Simbine of South Africa has lauded the competition between him, Letsile Tebogo of Botswana, and Kenya's Ferdinand Omanyala, saying it has spurred the growth of sprint races in Africa and fueled interest in the short races among young people in the continent. So tomorrow on Sunday, Omanyala and Sambine will join some of the world's finest sprinters in the 2025 World Relay Championship in Guangzhou, China, where teams will compete for places in the 2025 World Athletics Championship scheduled for Tokyo later this year. We definitely wish Ferdinand Omanyala all the best as he represents Kenya in China in the latest race over the weekend. And that story marks the end of our newspaper review this morning. Remember to grab yourself a copy of the dailies, delve deeper into the stories I have highlighted for you, and also see the stories we did not get time to highlight for you this morning. And that marks the end of our newspaper review this morning. Be sure to catch us tomorrow again next week for more stories from over the weekend. My name is DANFLOW LINDWE. Have yourself a blessed day.
Marai Company, in collaboration with Competitive Manpower, is urgently hiring for the following exciting roles: Grade 1 mechanics, panel beaters, refrigeration technicians, lead mechanics, diesel plant mechanics, welders, and stainless steel welders. Why apply? This is a free recruitment with no application or placement fees required. Contact us today on 0721 506627 or 0733 392180. You can also visit us at Waterseas Plaza, Kikorok Road. Alternatively, you can send an email to info@competitivemanpower.com. Apply now. Limited slots available.
Welcome to Competitive Training Institute, empowering you with in-demand skills. At Competitive Training Institute, we equip you with practical, job-ready skills that open doors both locally and internationally. Whether you're aiming to become a qualified caregiver, certified plumber, skilled automotive mechanic, or want to learn a foreign language like French, Arabic, or German, and many more, we've got the right course for you. Our hands-on training, guided by experienced instructors and aligned with market demands, ensures you're ready to compete and succeed in today's job market. We don't just train, we help you get hired. Our job placement team supports you in finding meaningful work after graduation. We are proudly accredited by NITA, ensuring high standards in all we offer. Ready to begin? Call us on 020 200 192. or 0721 22 3081, or email us at competitivetraining@gmail.com. Your journey starts here. Let's build your future together.
Join our team at AYTB in partnership with Competitive Manpower. AYTB is seeking qualified candidates for the following positions: technical advisor, QA or QC personnel, shop coordinator, report organizer, rotating equipment repair technician, valve overhaul technician, machining technician.
Contact us today on 0721 506627 or 0733 392180. You can also visit us at Waterseas Plaza, Kikorok Road. Alternatively, you can send an email to info@competitivemanpower.com. Apply now. Limited slots available.